If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. And we're back, and it's Thursday, November 1st, and it's 8:53 p.m. Eastern Time. I do have a lot of stuff to cover tonight, and I know I say that a lot, but I've got some really important stuff to talk about tonight, and a lot of it is Q related, absolutely. I think it ties into everything else that we cover, and I do have some news items I want to go over, but before I do all that, I want to talk to you guys. Let me get off this screen so you don't feel like you're lost in an infinity loop there. Now, I want to talk about something because I've been hearing this for a long time. And I haven't said anything about it because, excuse me, I didn't want to get into speculation. I wanted to have something concrete to base what I believe on. But I'm seeing this more and more and more, and I'm seeing the signs that it's real. And I'm starting to get a little bit alarmed. And I don't want this to be fear porn, but I'm going to put it out there for y'all. Now, November 11th, it's coming up. It's coming fast. We know that the midterms are November 6th. We know that there's going to be a red tsunami. Now, anybody that tells you differently isn't paying attention. The Democrats are still doing their ridiculous talking points. They're still doing all of these polls that are saying, oh yeah, the Democrats, they have a chance. No, they don't. They don't. Now, first of all, we can't trust polls because every single poll leading up to the election of Donald Trump as president indicated that Hillary would win by a landslide. Nobody predicted Trump would win. Nobody. Now, so looking at all the polls now, I'm thinking, well, why would we start believing them now? So do I believe that the Democrats are going to win the House back? No, I don't. And I am convinced of that. And I think that it's based on facts. I don't think that I'm just merely wildly speculating. This is based on facts, and everything that I've been looking at indicates that there will be a red tsunami. Now, does that mean that every single Republican will win? No, it doesn't. There will be some Democrats that get in, but not in the numbers that they need. So we are looking at a red tsunami on November 6th. Okay, now we've got how many days? 5 days. There's going to be 5 days from the time of the election until November 11th. And something earth-changing is going to occur on the 11th. Now, I am hearing this from all sides. It's been alluded to by The Economist magazine that there will be an economic reset and that the old guard will die on the 11th and the new guard will come in. They are wanting to bring in a digital currency based back to, at first, I think, by gold. Now, I'm not a financial expert by any stretch of the imagination. I am starting to get into it and starting to research it, but there are people that have made their whole lives, about researching financial markets and so forth, and they know far more than I do. So I'm just going to put that out there. However, sometimes the experts are wrong, and we have to go by our gut feeling, and we also have to go by what has been predictively programmed into our conscious. We know that programs such as The Simpsons, for example, they foretold 9/11. They foretold a lot of things that they've been accurate about, including the election of President Trump as, our president of the United States. They predicted that as well. Oddly enough, they predict that 2020 will have our first female president, and if that's who I think it is, then I pray that that's not true. But we know that they tend to tell us what they're going to do before they do it, and it's programmed in. Now, I don't know if I shared this on on video or not, but I know on October 7th, I was, just researching things as I always do, and I came across something on YouTube. Now, I wouldn't be able to find it again if my life depended on it, but it was somebody that was breaking down The Economist magazine and how it had been predicted that there would be a fall of the stock market on October 8th of this year, 2018. And this was now October 7th, late at night, and I don't have a lot of money in the stock market, but I do tend to pull from my savings whenever I have a little bit excess and try to put it into something, a stock or something that I think will do well, based on research and so forth. I don't just, gamble. But so I don't have a lot of money in the stock market, but I can't afford to lose what I do have. And so I was concerned, and I remember praying actually and thinking, what do I do? But I didn't feel any direction, and I thought, do I really want to make such a drastic change and pull all my money out of the stock market based on somebody's conjecture, which is what I thought it was at that point. But that person was completely 100% right, because when I woke up in the morning and the first thing I did was grab my phone and check my stocks, I was down like $3,000. Which for me is a considerable amount of money. I'm single and so forth, but that's not the point that I'm getting at all. Now, the point is that somebody knew that was going to happen, and they were warning others, and there were other people out there as well that had been warning other people. I just hadn't come across it before. Well, not only were they right about that, but there is now a feeling, and it's a feeling by a lot of people, not just me. I'm just one, and I'm like a voice crying in the wilderness, because I think that I run the risk of people thinking that I'm completely nuts. But I do believe that they do have a global reset planned for the 11th of November. And that is a date that Q has been alluding to a lot. And so, and Trump, and a lot of other people, to tell you the truth. And if you don't believe me, look it up. Do some research on your own, because I don't ever want somebody to just take my word for anything, ever, because, it's dangerous. And I just would never want somebody to just believe what I'm saying just because I'm saying it. So I'm telling you that this is what I believe is going to happen, and I feel compelled to share this. Now, what you do with that information, or whether you believe it, is completely up to you. It's certainly not fear porn, but I would rather know and be able to prepare what I can prepare than not know at all. So the 6th is the elections. The Democrats are going to lose. Now, what happens when they lose? Do you think they're going to just go off silently into that good night and say, well, it was a good fight, we lost? No, that's not what's going to happen at all, and we all know that. We know that they are capable of violence. It's quite evident, and I think what's going to happen as well is the media will be complicit in ratcheting up the rhetoric, so that people are continually being churned up and churned up and churned up. And they're going to, when you have a bruise and someone, starts poking at it, the bruise, you can see it's there, but you don't really feel pain until someone starts poking around in it. Well, there are some subjects in this country that are like bruises. And when the media starts poking around in those bruised areas, people tend to get upset. And you know what they are. And then you've got someone like Don Lemon that's saying that, white men are, the biggest terrorists in America. Never mind the fact that he's married to a white man. I'm not sure what his so-called husband thinks about him believing that white men are the problem in America. White men are not the problem. Brown men are not the problem. Black men are not the problem. Men in general are not the problem. We know it's not going to be, it's not our differences that we should be focusing on. Sure, we're different. We're all different people. It's a very diverse country, and great. That's a good thing. But it's being exploited against us to divide us. Race, religion, all sorts of things. And we see that. And what's going to happen in those 5 days? First of all, you're going to have all that rhetoric ratcheted up by the media and stirring and pressing on those bruises. And I do believe that violence will erupt. Some of it will be planned. A lot of it will be planned. And that's the way I feel. Then, to complicate matters, we've got the fact that they are planning an economic reset. Now, I've been looking at a lot of things about this and listening to people that are far smarter than I am about the stock market. And all the world markets are in a place where they are going to crash, because historically there are people that study all of these patterns and charts and everything, and they know, because they know, okay, when we see this pattern, a crash occurs. Well, that's what we're seeing in all of the world's stock markets at this time. And I believe, from what I read, it would start with Germany, and then China, and the US would quickly follow, and I can't remember the order that it would come in, but these are people, like I said, that are much, much smarter than I am. So they are planning that, and they are planning an economic reset. What I've heard, and now I don't know this, this is just what I've heard, and I've been hearing this over and over and over again from some very intelligent people, that they plan on making it a digital currency backed with gold. Now, that would make sense, because our fiat currency has no value. It's just printed paper, and it would make sense that they would fall back to a gold standard. But again, I'm not claiming to be an expert in this area whatsoever. I just know what I've studied, and I know that this has been something that I've been following for a while now, and I do believe that the time is imminent. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, I think you need to know. I think you need, if you're a believer, to pray about it and ask, is there anything that you can do to prepare? And I would suggest that you have some cash on hand, some food, basic, ammunition. These are just basic things. I'm not asking you to go out and, withdraw all your money or do this or no, I don't know. I don't know the best way to prepare, because you know what? If I did, I'd be doing it. But I do know something's coming. And The Economist magazine, that has always been, they've been correct in their predictions. Now, their 2019 cover is black. It's completely black with just the letters across it. Let me see if I can find, and I should have done this before, but I really wasn't too sure when I started this video that I was going to go this direction, but I really feel the need to go this direction. Now let me see if I can find, well, there's some nice flags for you, a picture of the Economist magazine from Economist magazine 2019. I want to show you this just so you can have the visual there. I think that helps. Let me see here. Okay, here it is. That is the magazine cover. Just a small red square with the name of the magazine, and it says The World in 2019, and the cover is completely black. What does that mean? Well, I don't think it's a good meaning. And I think that they know something that we don't know. So we have a perfect storm that's brewing right now. A perfect storm. Now, I don't know where Q fits into this, where Trump fits into this, where anything fits into this, because I know that there's certain things that will occur, but I don't know what the end game is. I don't know how it's going to end. I mean, I know how the Word of God says it's going to end, and it's not pretty. For those of you that are believers, you know what I mean. For those of you who are not, that's perfectly fine. We can agree to disagree, and still respect one another. But I know that they have this planned. There is going to be an economic reset. There's going to be the biggest transfer of wealth in history. I've been hearing this from people that were on the inside, okay? These people were insiders. Some of them will tell you that they're prophets. They're not prophets. They're insiders. And they're trying to get this information to Christians, and because we're useful to them. And they have, they've known about this for a long time. A long time, okay? I've been hearing this since the late 80s. Going to be a massive transfer of wealth. There's going to be a global reset. There's going to be a new currency. And the world is going to change radically. Radically. And we have a perfect storm right now. We've got the so-called caravan that is on our southern border, that is pressing up against our southern, border, and something's going to have to be done. Now, Trump is going down there with the military, and he stated today that if they throw rocks, that will be considered. If they've got rocks, or sticks, or they're throwing sticks, we'll consider that a gun. Well, you and I both know what that means. We don't need to have it spelled out for us. Now, I do think that there is going to be violence on the southern border. I believe that very strongly. And I believe that this has been engineered. I listened while Fox News, and I was trying to find you some little sound bites to play for you. But I couldn't. And you know why I couldn't? Because every one of those sound bites were spinning it. And I could see the spin, and I could see through the spin, and it was making me very angry. And Fox News, yeah, they were just as guilty as the other channels. So I thought, well, I can't play this because it's not even the truth. Now, there are far more people in that so-called caravan than we're being told about, number one. Number two, they're sleeping in Red Cross tents. All right? Now, so the Red Cross is involved, interestingly, because Q had said something about Red Cross, and he put Red Cross. So in October, well, it's the Red Cross that is certainly at least providing the tents. We don't know who's providing their food. From my understanding, it's UN, possibly George Soros. I think that would be a pretty reasonable thing to think, considering. Now, so we've got this perfect storm. We've got all this on the southern border that I don't know how it cannot erupt in violence, because from what I understand, the people in the back that have joined the caravan now have guns and bombs. Now, whether they're real bombs, whether they're Molotov cocktails, I don't know. I don't care. You start throwing Molotov cocktails, or you start shooting, and you've got the women and children in the front, because you know that's where they're going to put them, because that's the face that they want on these illegal aliens. They want that face. They want the women and children. Oh, look, we can't hurt them. Look, they're just, and everything within us is going to, our humanity within us is going to feel bad for these people. But behind those people of course, are going to be the violent and the angry young men that we have seen. Also, YouTube, also other places, we have seen that these people are not the innocent people just out looking for a job. And if they were just looking for a job and a better life, wouldn't they take the offer of Mexico, which has, offered them a job, food, a place to live? But no, they don't want that. They want America. Well, why? I guess we're going to find out. And I believe that Trump is telling the truth in terms of the military and what, how he's going to tackle this. But I don't know. Are some going to get through? What will they do? I think this has been planned. And it's interesting because on Fox, they're talking about, this is because, the Democrats, they've had all these comprehensive immigration reforms, and they took them to the Republican, but the Republicans, wouldn't follow through. They rejected it or whatever. So, you have this man on Fox that's blaming Donald Trump and saying, "Oh, well, we want reform. It's them that won't cooperate." And you've got Trump, who I'm far more inclined to believe, saying, "Well, we want to come to the table, but they won't agree on anything." So, yeah, they probably did bring a package of reform to the table, and it probably was something ridiculous. Like, well, let's just give everyone amnesty and just allow them to come across. And, because the Democrats don't want to have a border at all, because the people, they're voters. It keeps them in power. They don't think about, what's this going to do to our country 20 years down the road? I mean, we can't afford this. And yeah, there's a lot of people in a lot of desperate situations throughout the world, but can the U.S. afford to take them all in? Should we feel guilty because we were born in a land of peace and plenty? Is that our fault? We're made to feel like it is. We're made to feel like we're awful people because we were born in a country of peace and plenty. The economy's doing well. And this guy on Fox is saying, well, Trump won't talk about the economy or anything. So, he had to invent this caravan thing to get all... Give me a break. Of course he's not talking about the economy. Why would he? The economy's doing great. When do you ever get good news? They don't talk about good news. So, yeah, of course, why would he need to talk about the economy? The economy's booming. It's never done better. Now, I think that I'm not necessarily sure that I believe that it will continue, because I think that there's something horrible that we are right on the precipice of. And I feel it, and I think if you are honest with yourself, that you feel it too. Something's coming. Something's coming that we are not prepared for. So I may keep this video just on this subject and do my other news video separately, because I think that this is important. It's been in me for several days, probably several weeks, and I have just been doing the news and this and going about whatever and ignoring it, and I can't ignore it anymore. I can't, because everywhere I'm turning, everything I'm researching, those that are in the know, clown types and so forth, they're all saying the same things. Something's coming. Something's coming. And we're not ready for it. And I think that some things are coming to the shores of America that I think there are natural disasters coming, earthquakes, and I know you're saying, well, duh, they've been saying that forever. Well, yeah, they've been saying it forever, but if you really watch some of the people that really hone in on this stuff, for example, there's a channel that I like to listen to called Dutch Sense, um, saying the same thing. There's an uptick here in activity along, the California coast. I don't know. I don't know. I can't predict. I'm not God. I can tell you what I believe is going to happen, and it's not good. And I don't think we're prepared. And I think that the war's going to come to us. We haven't had a war on our soil except for Pearl Harbor. And I don't know. I don't know, but everything I'm seeing, everything I'm feeling, everything I'm researching, it's all leading to November 11th. Now, I pray I'm wrong. I pray on November 11th that people say to me, "You are the biggest fool." I hope they do. I hope they say, "Look, you know what? You are a false prophet." Not that I'm claiming to be a prophet by any stretch of the imagination, but I believe it's coming. I believe it's coming. So this is what I'm saying. After the election, you got 5 days. 5 days. Now, what you're going to see in those 5 days is ratcheting up. Ratcheting up, it's going to be happening in the media and all sorts of media. It's going to happen on YouTube because you're going to have an increase of people saying things and you're not going to know, is this true or is this false? Now, it's coming. It's been planned for a very, very long time. Like I said, I was around some people that were in the know. They would claim they were prophets. They were not prophets. They had inside knowledge. And I could go through many, many, many things. I used to talk to people about these things, and they would blow me off like, "Okay, well, that's crazy." Well, it's interesting because I had a friend that's, gosh, he's been a friend for 20 some years. And I used to talk to him about this stuff because we had a very, very similar background, almost identical background. And in fact, I think he is the male version of me. I really do. We're so much alike in that way. And we have come through a lot of very, very similar things. And so I would talk to him about this stuff. And a lot of it, he said, I would just put on a shelf because I knew that you knew something, but I would just put it on a shelf and say, well, maybe that's just her. Maybe she's just a little off. And it's funny because, after years and years and years, he said, you realize everything that you talked about 10 years happened? And I said, yeah. And I said, that's not because I'm a prophet. It's not because it's not. It's because I listened to these people that had inside knowledge. And they talked about this stuff a long time ago. They talked about how they were going to try and start race wars and all of this stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff that even to pull it out right now is hard because there's so much. But this has all been planned, okay? And I've been hearing about this for years, since the 80s. And it was probably before then. It was just that happened to be when I was, old enough to understand what was being spoken, and that it took me a while because I did believe at the time that some of these people were prophets, and now I understand that the vast majority of them were not, but indeed had inside knowledge and were working on the wrong side. All right, so that's what I felt I needed to tell you. Now, I may lose my channel over this. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm probably going to put an innocuous title on this so that people don't really know until they get into it, because I think I have a core group of listeners that would be interested in hearing this. Now, I'm not asking you to believe me, okay? I am not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to do your own research and just consider it. That's all I'm asking. Consider it. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for, my video to be spread everywhere. I don't care. I really don't care. This is this no, me telling you this has no benefit to me whatsoever, none. Um, but if it helps somebody, if it helps you be prepared, if it helps prepare you psychologically, spiritually, then that's great. That's why I did it. Not to scare anybody, but you know, maybe during the next 2 weeks when you're in the grocery store, pick up some more canned goods, pick up some tuna, some peanut butter, some rice, some beans, whatever. Pick up some water. I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to look like at all. But I just know something's coming. It's coming. And it's just about here. And it's been predictively programmed. And people have known this for generations. So this has been planned. Now, I want to believe that Trump is working for the good. That's what I want to believe. That's what I choose to believe at this point, until I see evidence otherwise. That's what I'm going to believe. I believe Q is real. I believe Q has given us real intelligence. But in many ways, it's the world against Trump, because I think that Trump knows what's coming, and I think that he is trying to make it as easy on America as he can. I think he's a good man. I may regret saying that someday, but I can only go by what I see and what he's doing and his actions, and I see that he's only brought good to America so far. So that's where I stand on all this. I did feel compelled to give this to you. I hope that you know me well enough, those of you that have listened to me for a year or whatever. I guess it's a little bit over a year. I would hope that you know me well enough that I'm not trying to gain attention or anything else. I'm just telling you what I personally believe. And I pray I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong. And you know what? I'll be the first to admit it. November 11th, God willing and the creek don't rise, I'm going to bring you a video. And if it's a day like any other day, I'm going to say, you know what, guys? I missed it. I really, really missed it. And I'm sorry. But the alternative to that is, if I'm right, I'm not going to feel real good about being right. And I don't think it'll be any consolation to you either if I'm right. So if you're a believer, pray. Ask the Lord how you should prepare, or if you should prepare. Be aware. Keep your eyes open. There's things happening around us. There is a plan for an economic reset. There is a plan for the largest transfer of wealth in human history. I've known about this since the 80s from men who called themselves prophets, who were not prophets, who were insiders. They're planning this. Now, whether Trump can circumvent that, I pray he can. I pray he can. But it's what they've planned, okay? And also, there is coming the greatest transfer of wealth, because there is about to be, and again, I've known this since the 80s, there is about to be some sort of new form of energy that is, I don't know if discovered is the right word, but it's a new form of energy. It's going to transform the world as we know it. And also, if you're not aware of quantum computers, look up D-Wave, quantum computing, and look into it. I may do a program on that sometime and talk about that and the dangers that I see in that, as well as the opportunities that it opens up. But there's a lot. There's a lot there, and I only talk about so little because I never really wanted to get into my background and so forth too much, but I wanted to keep up with the news and present the news, and I'm able to do so in a lighthearted manner most of the time. But this is not something that I can really even joke about because it's serious. And again, I pray that you will take me seriously, and I pray that you will prepare in any way that you can. And if you're a believer, just at least pray and ask how to prepare, if to prepare. Now, that's all I have to say for this moment. I'm probably leaving out a lot of pertinent information that I need to pass along. And if you ask questions in the comments below, I'll do my very best to answer. And that's about all I can say at this point. So I'm going to close this video out. I am going to come back and do a Q-related news. So this is not my only video of the night. I did intend to just make this a very short comment at the first and go into the news, but I think it's worked out the way it's supposed to work out, and I think that I've told you the things that I feel that I need to tell you, and we'll leave it at that. So I'll be back later tonight, and actually once I get this uploaded, I'm going to go right into the Q-related news, so it should not be really a late video. And stay safe. I pray that you will all stay safe, stay well, and stay blessed. Talk to you real soon.